What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'd like to talk a little bit about transcending a lot of anger and how you can use like the energy of anger through oneness to really let go of a lot of the attack thoughts, the grievance thoughts, the thing that you're actually separating yourself from in consciousness, which is like the root of this anger. You know, a lot of like the anger itself comes from experiencing an illusion of evil, which in that same moment, you can, instead of reacting and giving away your energy and creating what you don't want, ultimately you can use that same energy because there's only one energy. Every emotion, everything that you think, feel, experience is based on one energy. It's our judgments and our fucking own mental hangups where we go, well, this is good, this is bad, because I know the perspective. I know what exactly is good for me. I know what's bad for me. I know what's good for that person. It's ego bullshit. To sit there and judge and like shame yourself for feeling a way that God has created you to feel for a specific reason. The problem is you just don't understand the correct reasoning, and so you make up all these excuses and these reasons to flagellate yourself and suffer and guilt yourself into all these things, instead of realizing, you know what, this anger is a gift. For whatever reason, I may not understand it, might feel uncomfortable, but I'm not going to sit here like a pussy and try to avoid it, try to soothe myself with all this fucking reactivity or whatever, but instead, use it to build more and more levels of who you are in Christ, the new you, looking at everything going on as being brand new. The world you thought you were living in is not the reality. The reality is oneness and unity consciousness. The illusions of separation are what stems a lot of the anger response. Looking at like biblical examples of like how Jesus even at one point turned the tables over of these money changers at the temple that were like, making focus on making money out of like religion and whatever, selling trinkets and bullshit, thinking that these material items is what saves you. A lot of idolatry in that, a lot of like, building up fake idols, and according to the Bible, Jesus just went in there and fucking just was really intense. But the thing about that, like a lot of people maybe not understand, is there's some people that only respond with intense fucking, energy. It's like me personally, it's like if you come off as like a coward or like a bitch or like you don't have your shit together and you're going to like try to like tell me something, if I don't respect you, I'm not gonna fucking listen to you. It's like that simple. So it's like sometimes to get my attention, it's like it's got to be that kind of like intense energy at times. But even in that, you can start to spin out with like worst case scenarios. Oh, I'm being attacked. Oh, woe is me, I'm a victim. I'm not responsible for this bullshit, separation I'm seeing. And in that separation, I'm feeling anger because I hate evil. I hate separation. And that's part of your nature, is like we all hate that. Because it's, for one, the root of all suffering. For two, it's like that's like the only thing sin is this idea of separation manifesting through all these different types of moral behaviors or whatever. But it's ultimately the belief in separation, which breeds fear and scarcity, which creates a shit show of everything else. And so when it comes to feeling anger, for one, embrace it fully. Learn to love the anger, learn to incorporate that into who you are in Christ, because it's like God created anger. So start to realize like there's a divine reason for it that I may not understand. Sometimes we can like use it based on fear, in our old beliefs, where we want to use our anger to destroy and attack the one we view as being separate. Well, that same energy can be transmuted to create more unity and oneness, more of who you are in Christ. It's like it helps you clarify exactly what you want, and who you want to be in the face of that. Where in the past you look at that as an obstacle or like the bad man, look at the bad man over here. Where now you can look at it as like a shadow element within your own consciousness, where it's like, okay, well, this wouldn't even be bothering me if this didn't exist within me as well. So it's like where I want to attack and break the mirror that's in front of me, because it's separate, is, that illusion in itself is the problem. But by realizing that's the problem, and that's why you're feeling anger, well, then you can start to use that same energy from a curse to a blessing, and actually start to amplify more and more of what you want, which is love, not fear. It's very, very simple. Yet the egoic consciousness wants to take everything and convolute it, overcomplicate it, turn it into some pedestal, try to logically. I need satiated with exactly the right words so I can get it in my head. It's like you'll never get it in your head because it's through the heart that you get it. It's through experience, and it's just through knowing. It's through doing that you start to understand this shit. And part of that is like whenever something's an obvious weed in the garden of your life that's confronting you in the present moment, realize that it's not the outer event that's bothering you, it's the inner story that you're associating with that outer event that's bothering you. And more than likely it's a lie, it's a fear, it's an excuse, and it's what you know in your heart to be the opposite of love, the opposite of God. It's like look at pain in your body, for example. It's like there's been many times in the past where I'd like try to make a pedestal about pain, like, oh, it's strengthening, which is a positive way to look at it, because even when you like lift weights and shit, it's like no pain, no gain type thing. But the thing of it is like the more that you try to keep yourself safe from it, the more that you try to avoid it, the more that you try to make it this big pedestal thing, the more that you have a fear of loss of health, the more that you realize that God is health, that God is strength. It's not a little bit, it's all of it. And you realize all of that is in the field of awareness within your own consciousness, and you can start to become still in the present moment. Say you're feeling a lot of anger, you're seeing a lot of separation, which is causing the anger. The things that are true of Jesus are true of you. When it says that Jesus, or the fear of God, for example, is the hatred of evil. So evil being the idea of separation from God, fear is the closest thing that we can tangibly experience. And we know that, and we know what that feels like. We know what that feels like in mind. We know what that feels like in like vision. We know these limiting beliefs, these assumptions that constrict and keep us in a small box. And for the people in the world that keep reacting to fear, doubling down on it, focusing their attention on it, viewing the outer event separate from their own consciousness, creating more and more anger in the sense that there's a they, there's a libtard and I don't even know what the slur is for a conservative. Maybe just like a hick or so, but like, so you have like the libtard. I just know that because I live in a conservative area, and you hear that kind of shit. People worshiping the government and looking for the president to save them from their own consciousness. But the thing of it is, it's like you start to take those anger impulses of like, oh, I want to attack and destroy. You can use that same energy to build and create. And so you can start to use it as fuel to develop faster and faster into, for one, what you want, what you desire, which is to create this new you. That's part of it. It's like you're limited. You're living in a limited identity that you put the limiter on, and then you are dealing with these consequences of your own consciousness. When part of like the consciousness of like the Christ consciousness is like there is no limit. Nothing's impossible for God to do. You can be, do, and have anything by embodiment now. It's like you have to be it now. It's like you be it in consciousness, and then it externalizes into form as a demonstration of faith. We're all demonstrating faith, and that's what's really important. Is like some people are demonstrating their faith in fear and satanic ideals. Unconsciously, most people are doing that when they aren't aware of how we're all connected, that there is a unity that exists within all of us. I believe we call it the subconscious mind, in the world, but it's more of a tangible. That's not what the hell am I trying to say? Is more of a, you can put it on, you can experience. It's more of an experiential thing that you start to know by being mindful and like aware of your thoughts. Just whenever you're starting to spin out, starting to really let the mind race with a lot of fears and worst case scenarios and what you don't want, anger, jealousy, envy, shame, guilt, all these kinds of mindsets from the past, that past you is dead. That is not who you are anymore. Everything in creation is new. You are new. Your mind is new. The way everything is functioning is new compared to what you used to know. We're living in an entirely different world than what you think it is. It's inverted and backwards, the world. But when you see it as like one thing, as unity, it all starts making more sense. The Bible makes more sense. The stuff that God was saying in the Bible is like, all these like sinful things. When you see it through, those are all things that you do when you're living in separation and fear and identity based on that. It makes so much more sense, and how powerful your consciousness is, your beliefs, how you're using the energy that God gives you in the present moment. Are you using it to create hell for yourself, or are you using it to create heaven? You're only ever doing one of two things. You're either doing it out of fear or you're doing it out of love. Is your anger out of fear because you see a separation and you see an obstacle to overcome? You see somebody that's obstructing God? Is what kind of like it boils down to. Well, those are all things that can make you angry. Oh, there's a limiter. I have a vision that God gave me, and now there's a person that's a glaring mirror of doubt or fear or shame or any of these types of things. Everything in your consciousness, until it's become transmuted by love, will be symbolically represented in a form of a relationship. Everything in creation is one relationship. That's your relationship with your creator, because your creator is all things manifesting in all these different forms and levels of awareness. And once you know that, then you don't have, that person is this and this is that. You have a relationship with your mom, your dad, your wife, your kids, your body, your government, everything is a relationship, and everything either has a story of being part of creation or part of like, this is satanic and this needs destroyed, and this is fearful, and this is an energy sucking pendulum, and all these. And not to say that shit doesn't exist, but everything is simultaneously two things, in the sense that it depends if you're operating out of fear and separation. Look at creation as just being a neutral mirror. God created everything. That's you judging the things that you think are morally good and whatever. But even in those things, it's still reflecting consciousness. The actual truth of what's going on is behind all of the illusions of form. It starts in the infinite. It starts in the imaginal, awareness, the field of awareness, the quantum field or whatever, as a potential. And as you start to embody more and more levels of awareness of knowing that, and how it's all connected, that there's nothing to fear, that everything is unfolding perfectly, even the fucking bullshit, the hang-ups, the dramas, the this, the that. It's like, start to really build, who, if you are in heaven, which you are actually, in truth, you never left heaven. But, until your personality starts to realize that, it's like, start making this future ideal, this future you made it moment or whatever of heaven, that a lot of religion people are just under that spell. It's no different than like the spell of the world of like music, where it's like, you made it, you had a record deal, and now everything's a fucking utopia, and you have no problems ever, and everything is just blah blah blah. Your people just love you unconditionally, and there's like a parade for your fucking awesomeness, and that fucking bullshit future that people spend the eternal now on this hamster wheel just suffering and grinding for, and meanwhile just getting their energy siphoned and sucked, and fed upon by egregores and everything else. Well, you can snap out of that by realizing that the shit that you're fucking doing all this stuff for this imaginary future, embody the end now, and realize that everything that you're really trying to achieve through a material means is a relationship with love, with feeling good, with I'm doing all these things, I'm juggling around a business that's got all these fucking troubles and people to take care of and everything else for this imaginary future where I can be at peace and fucking whatever. It's like, okay, there's nothing you need to do to feel a certain way. You just need to choose to feel abundant. It's like, the same thing. I'm going to work 24/7 just doing all this bullshit so I feel like I made it. It's like, Why does that make you feel like it's like, get this fucking bullshit future out of your fucking head and make it now. It's like, what is going on now? It's like you can't even handle that fucking future because you can't even handle the energy you have now to build it. So you start using those angers, those fucking energies, realize that this is one energy. What I was using for pain can be used for pleasure. What I was using for scarcity can be used for abundance. What I was using as a curse is my fucking blessing. And it's just knowing that. It's then knowing that there's only one power, there's only God going on, and everything that's happening is an awareness that's growing more and more so to show others that this is fucking real and that they don't have to spend the present moment suffering in hell thinking they're separate from God that's out in space judging them and condemning them. It's within your own consciousness where that's going on, and you're doing it to yourself with your own bullshit that you just won't let go of. That's ultimately the remedy to all of these things, is to unlearn and to drop the fucking bullshit that's not serving or true. It's that simple. And you let it go in mind. A lot of times by taking new action. And so it's like, if your body, for example, is not matching this inner vision that God has given you of like what's possible for your health and well-being, it's like God is not in your diseases and excuses of illness and pain. God is health and healing. So and strength and all these things that you're trying to do through all these material means, it's like, that's not how you do it. It's like you stop focusing on the illness, the problem, the lack, which is ultimately the opposite of love. That shit needs to be let go of, and you need to connect with love now, in heaven as it is on earth as it is in heaven. Like, your body is a perfect reflection of consciousness, whether you believe that or not. It has no will outside of God's will, and it is reflective of your subconscious assumptions. And with that, the assumptions of like all these limiting beliefs and all this bullshit, when you can start to connect right here, right now with the perfect thought that God has in store for your body, that already is inherently like that. Your body is already perfect. The problem is you tell it fucking bullshit that's not true. You think you're weak. You think you're pathetic. You think you're this. You think you're that, and you're not. But that's what you think. And part of like working out, getting fit, for example, is like you have maybe this satanic belief that you're a weak pussy. Well, okay, that's what you believe, but that's not true. And you start to realize it's not true by doing some fucking push-ups and stop acting like a bitch and push yourself and take action, which then starts the fucking thing. First, you give it to yourself. Give yourself health. Give yourself what you are trying to achieve now. If you are in fucking scarcity, fucking give yourself abundance and feel what that feels like. God is abundant. So you not connecting with that abundance is you not connecting with God. It's that fucking simple. It's like you connecting with death and decay and illness is you not connecting with God, which is health. It's like you don't battle and resist what you don't want. You let it go and you put on what you do want. There's one of infinite possibilities of what you can be experiencing, and for every fucking excuse and every loser that has the fucking worst thing happening to them, somebody's blessed and proving them wrong. And that's you who proves them wrong. It's like, 90% of people have this disease and they just have to live with it, and it gets worse and worse and worse. What about the 10% that recover and it's a blessing in disguise? That's you, motherfucker. You are that 10%. And the more that you realize that, the more that you can shake off what the world says and thinks, and the weaknesses and the fucking limiting beliefs and all these excuses why you need a master to teach your slave ass how to do something. That teacher's within you. So it's like the more that you get that intuition within and you're able to connect with that and be a better steward of the energies, which is just your emotions. Look at emotion as energy in motion. Whether you're fucking furious or you're in bliss, it's one energy. It's all in how you're using it. So you can start to transmute the anger by using it as fuel to fucking go to the next level. So maybe somebody talks shit about your body. Maybe they call you fat or lazy or whatever this thing is, and you believe that that's true, and they just say it as like some harsh truth or whatever. It makes you feel some shame because you know it's true. It's one thing if you either your faith is aligned with how you're looking. Not to say that there's really anything wrong with, like, because there's a spectrum, but there's obviously a fucking tipping point where it's like you are unconsciously developing your body. You're unconsciously doing things to yourself, which you're cursing yourself simultaneously as you're eating all this bullshit and going, oh, this is gonna fucking make me fat. Oh, I feel so much guilt and shame for eating something so decadent. And you just fucking all these negative shit, all these negative stories, and then you're sitting there in the present moment feeling shame for it. Again, you're using the one power as a curse, experiencing what you don't want, trying to be reactive to it, whatever, and then someone calls you a name or whatever, oh, you're so fucking this, you're so fucking that, where you can sit there in anger of like, oh, that person's separate from me, how dare they say this to me, they should love and accept me for who I am and whatever. Or you can go, you know what, fuck that person, you know what, it might be right, but you know what, I'm going to use this energy, this anger that I'm feeling. Realize that if it wasn't within you, if you didn't think that way, that person never would have manifested in your life to bring that shit to you. People are all just messengers telling you what's going on within you, and you can use it as fuel and make a change because you know that that's not who you are. Or you double down and you fucking say, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to do, this, I'm going to, whatever. It doesn't matter, but you can use it as fuel to like, oh, I'm going to just fucking do 50 push-ups. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm making the change right here with that energy. So it's all about, transmuting those energies where in the past, you could use those energies as a curse to like flagellate yourself and abase yourself and feel all sorts of bullshit versus, just, okay, well, you know what you said was really triggering. Instead of feeling separation, I'm going to use this as fuel to really cement who I am in Christ now. Probably the next video is going to be really a detailed thing. This is like a little teaser of what you can actually start doing now to start to develop who you are in Christ. It's like start writing down the perfect you. Like the fucking man, if you're the man, or whatever. It's like, what does that look like? How would that be to embody this ideal, this perfect fucking badass self? What does that look like? Are they fat? Are they fucking not taking care of themselves, their hygiene? No, probably not. It's probably like the best version of myself. Like, it's like, who did God create me to be? And you write it down. This is an inner thing. You don't need somebody else to tell you what you need to look like or how you need to do. Nothing like that. It's between you and God. What this new you is. Write down how you going to look. How you going to show up. What kind of actions are you taking every day? You got a bunch of weeds in your garden, or you got a fucking awesome garden of your life. Everything is one thing. It's all a reflection. And so is your reflection like, fuck, that's awesome, man. That's next level shit. I like that. I like when there's people fucking demonstrating awesome things. I don't feel any type of like envy or competition, but it's more like, fuck yeah, it's like I'm looking for people that are fucking excelling because in my fucking world I'm like looking around like feeling like an alien, and so when I see other aliens it's like, fuck yes, it's awesome. Let's fucking take it to an extreme level even more. Oh, Mike, that's just ego craving. It's like love is expansive, so it's like either you're constricting into a small bullshit self, but when you're expansive, it's like you're thinking in terms of other people. Making this video, I'm thinking in terms of like, what can I solve for the person listening, for you? Can I help you in some way? Can I strengthen you in some way? Can I help you, give you some sort of clarity, some sort of vision, some sort of a purpose for the present moment? That's the kind of shit I'm thinking about, in terms of like my handyman business. It's in terms of like, how can I create this, like I just got a text message like fucking 10 minutes ago, I just got a bathroom remodel job. My thought is, how can I crush this fucking bathroom? I already did one bathroom in their house and it fucking turned out awesome. And it's like, how can I even surpass that vision? How can I make it even better? And it's that kind of mentality all day long, every day. It's like, okay, some adversity, some bullshit, some drama. Am I going to let that, it's all a reflection of consciousness that's happened deliberately on purpose because of correspondence, and this problem is going to level me up. I'm going to transmute this anger. I'm going to use it as fuel to level up. I'm going to and it's all that kind of mentality. It's all of that kind of shit in the present moment, always. Just like, demonstrating these types of things. Next thing, is like write down. So it's your what you want to look like, consciously what you want to look like. The actions you're taking every day. Are you, letting go of a lot of the weeds that are choking the life out of who you are in Christ? The bullshit, the excuses, the shit that's just not serving, that's fear based, letting that shit go. The energy that you're rocking throughout the day, it's like this ideal person that you are, this ideal eternal being that God created you to be. What's your energy like? What are you giving to other people as far as just your vibe? Because we are all connected, like I said earlier. And so if you're giving a bunch of fear and bullshit and limitations and excuses, that's being selfish, in my opinion. It's like if you are just concerned with survival mode and scarcity, you don't have enough of this shit, you don't have enough of that, you ain't using the one power to fucking do shit besides suck and suck and suck. That's not a fucking energy you want to be in. That's not fucking child of God energy. So it's like, start really thinking about like the energy that you're bringing to every relationship, your house, the room you're sitting in, the fucking animals you see. Everything is relationship. And if it's dysfunctional, you have a dysfunctional relationship with your creator. It's that simple. Start fucking healing that relationship. So next thing is like, so once you get your energy, we'll just do that for now. That's enough to get you started. Write down those things. How do you want to look? What kind of actions are you taking throughout the day? And what is your fucking energy in the present moment? If you are not aligned with that new vision, well then start to get more in harmony with that vision, because you are already that vision. You are already doing this. That's the biggest takeaway, that if you learn anything from what I'm like saying, is you are already doing this. It's not, oh, I need to learn how to like create my life and be more conscious. It's like, you're unconsciously doing this like a fucking shit show, and it's making you suffer and everybody around you suffer. You're demonstrating hell. You're getting the worst of everything. You're thinking like you're a fucking loser. And God didn't create a loser. God created a masterpiece. And you need to fucking start thinking like one and acting like one. And so with that being said, I think I'm a balance. I'm kind of in some fucking weird energy today. I've have some my own kinds of problems. And again, the new creation, problem. And like not trying to like soothe myself so I never have fucking problems, because I'd rather just be again with the maybe that would fall under actions category, be able to handle any fucking problem without breaking or being a bitch about it, or just letting it break me, or any of that kind of stuff. It's like, all these problems, and most of the time it's other people's dumping their problems onto me, and a lot of times, you can get, again, the anger, because that's, separate, but transmuting the anger into like, okay, well, this is not a separate person dumping their problems onto me. These are my problems that I'm just like repressing. These are things going on within my own consciousness that, by facing them, facing the fear, taking new action, leveling up, I'm going to demonstrate more of who I am in Christ. You can't lose. You can only just do it in reverse and fucking suffer. But that has an element of being able to transmute that, because it's, again, one energy. So the things that are causing you suffering and pain will bring you joy and pleasure if you fucking learn how to use the energy correctly and think about it in terms of everything. But broken record at this point, so I appreciate you all liking, sharing, subscribing, all the social networking things. Appreciate your spiritual support and your financial support. Thank you for that. Support link in the description. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind messages and things that go along with those. Hopefully it's a big circle. I can give the same in different ways back to you. Thank you for that. And until the next now, God bless.